It's time for the retest. What will happen? Find out. Hello, truckers, drivers, and adventurers. I am the KILR Trucker, and it's time to make that long drive back to the Phoenix Swift Terminal to redo that road retest and hopefully test out of the student mentor program so that I can go solo with my own truck. Well, let's make that drive. I'm here, folks, and as you can see, it's still dark. So once again, I'm going to be tested by different standards than what others were tested. Where others were tested during the daytime, I'm being tested when it's dark. I mean, maybe I'll pass, all right, and I'm just getting all worked up for nothing. But, I mean, my anxiety levels are high. And they're high because I don't want to have to go back out with another mentor who I may or may not get along with, and feeling that I'm tired all the time because I can't get enough sleep, wondering if my CPAP machine is going to bust because of how everything gets thrown around in the cab, and then feeling like I'm on duty 24 hours a day because I can't get rest. I can't recharge myself. You know, maybe if I was in my 20s, I would be able to do it, but I'm not in my 20s. I'm not young anymore. And to just say, well, just deal with it and tough it out, you know, maybe that works for the military, but come on. I mean, we're talking about something where, you know, it requires safety on the road. Once again, I don't know. I mean, we'll find out what happens. This is the hunk of junk that I was tested on Friday. It shakes, it rattles, it rolls. When you press on the accelerator, it lurches forward, goes back. It makes it seem like you can't even drive correctly. Backing up is hell. And those are the two trailers you have to back in between. Once again, you know, something else they don't say to you is like, oh, you just need to park in between the two trailers. But yet, no, you have to make sure you don't go over the line because, oh, there's a wall there. Well, you know, they didn't say that. They said park between the two trailers. But again, maybe I'm getting worked up. But I want you folks to know what it is and how I'm feeling about this. Like I said, I'm being honest about my feelings. And I'm being tactful as well. So, I mean, there are other things that I could say that I'm not going to say. So many people are coming into the parking lot, so last thing I want is to get hit. I don't know, but this is Swift, right? Anyhow, got my gloves this time. I will check back with you after the test. Folks, I am speechless. But I have things to say. I passed. But at the same time, I'm glad I failed on Friday. I know this sounds weird, but you folks are going to find this interesting. Okay, so what I had to do this morning is an LCQT class. What that stands for is local close quarters training. And when they say local, they're like local around your home terminal. Normally, that type of class is done if you've gotten points or you've hidden something. And so the guy that took me out was like, this makes no sense. This is brand new. Why in the world are you in this class? Because I told him I just took my road test on Friday. And he was saying, he said, this shouldn't be. But since it was written down, he said, well, let's just go through the motions and just get it done. Put my gloves. First thing, he read who it was that tested me, and he said, I never liked her. He said he never liked her and said she has no business doing testing people. And I'm like, oh, wow. So then I'm not the only one who thought there was a problem. I knew there was something not right. You know when they say some things are just meant to happen? Yeah, I think this is meant to happen. For one, I think it helped expose that this lady should not be doing testing. But also, this guy who tested me, holy crap, he was so extremely helpful. I mean, basically, he was coaching me, but also watching how I was doing stuff. So he was coaching me and grading me at the same time. And he had no problems with how I was making my turns or anything else. The first thing we did was a pre-trip. Wow. This guy had the most detailed pre-trip I have ever seen. Went over some stuff that my mentor did not go over. Things that I thought were like, and I told him, I said, thank you so much. I said, this is the most complete pre-trip I have ever seen. Now, I had asked him about the hammer on the wheels and stuff like that, and he says, yeah, you should be checking it with an air gauge, but after a year, you're going to be hitting it with a hammer just like everyone else. I think it's good to check maybe not every day, but I do think it's important to check now you can't see me because of the sun behind me. I do think it's important to check that air pressure maybe once a week or every few days or something. Do you know what I mean? He did say if the air pressure is 60 pounds or less, it's considered flat. But I guess some of it is 90 and some of it's 100. I guess it's okay. I thought, the tires would wear unevenly if they're not close to the same weight. But, no. So I thought that was interesting. Then we went out into the road. We did not spend an hour out on the road. We went out and we did a couple of right turns couple of left turns, maybe an extra right and a left, and that was pretty much it. And he was, coaching me on the turns, and, also watched on how I did it. And yeah, he was fine with it. And then when we got back here to the terminal, I still drove that piece of crap. And I think he knows it's a piece of crap. We did the backing in between the trailers. And my last mentor was very, very helpful. But this guy was amazing. He had me set up in a 45 degree the same way that it looked when I was in Top Gun. It wasn't pulling the S and then kind of curving it around, so you already had a bend in the trailer, which is what my mentor showed me, which is good. He put a cone down on the line where the open space was at, and pretty much said, this is like 2 feet away from the edge of the trailer, or whatever it is that you don't want to hit. And this is what's called keeping your eye on the ball. So that's the ball. And he says, as you're backing up, turn that trailer so that way the back of it lines up with that cone. And when it does, pull up and turn the opposite direction. Remember, we're doing a side, so we're curving it. We're using the left turn, so when you're pulling up, you turn to the right. So he said, turn it all the way to the right, pull forward about 6 to 10 feet, stop, and then continue backing. Straighten up the wheel and continue backing. And when the back of the trailer lines up with that cone again, stop, pull forward, turning the wheel all the way to the right, and then straighten up the wheel, continue backing. When it lines up with the cone again, you do the same thing, pull forward, turn to the right. Right around that time, it should almost be straight to where you can just do a straight back. That was amazing. That's all I gotta say. It was simply amazing on what he showed me. So yeah, this is so weird. I mean, I gotta tell you, I know I was down. I was depressed for almost a couple of days, and now I look back and I'm like, I'm glad I failed. It was just weird because I learned a lot from this guy in the space of like 1 hour. And part of me is like, I don't think he does mentoring anymore, but would have been cool if I had gotten this guy for a mentor for a couple of weeks. And I'm not saying anything bad about my last mentor. He was awesome. This guy, wow. Absolutely just wow. And I asked him about the snow chain class. I think he does that too. I'm not sure. But he's going to get me scheduled for the snow chain class. And yeah, they got snow chains here, believe it or not. So I'll be able to do that and be prepared when I get out there. One of the things I found interesting is like the DOT tape that runs along, the back and the side and everything. He said, make sure you wipe those clean, because when you're driving in the snow and stuff, it's all going to slush up and hit it. And he says DOT will ding you for it. Again, that's another thing I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known that. So yeah, it was fantastic, I gotta tell you. So if you take the road test and you fail, man, don't stress out. you might go to this LCQT training like what I did and also get tested at the same time, and you may learn a lot more than what you learn with your mentor. So amazing, absolutely amazing. What did I tell you, folks? This series has turned out to be something I never expected. I mean, think of all the crazy things that happened during the 2 weeks that I was with my mentor. And then just now, with the failing of the test and then this thing with the retest, this is crazy. And like I said before, this is not scripted at all. This is not made up. I mean, this is actually happening. And, this is just, it's mind-boggling. It is really mind-boggling. So I hope this is really helping you folks out. I hope it is. And, hey, be sure to, like the video if you did, and leave some comments, and hey, subscribe. We're trying to build up. This doesn't mean that's the end of the video. We're trying to build up our community, and we've been growing at a bit of a faster rate lately, and that's awesome. I mean, this is not just me here. It's not about me. This channel, it's for all of us. This is our community. So, what you guys and gals say, your suggestions, your feedback, it is so appreciated, whether it's positive or negative. I can take constructive criticism and see what you people are saying. And don't forget about the Discord channel, because I got that set up for you folks. I want you to be able to talk with me, submit ideas, talk with each other. That's the KILR community. That's what our community is all about. So I hope you'll check that out. In the meantime, I'm going to go to the Jake Break Cafe, get some breakfast, and I'm supposed to head back to the driver qualification team and finish up, I guess. Okay, well, I don't have a truck. Apparently they don't have any trucks available. They're in the shop, so they're going to call me when one is available. Hopefully it is a good one. I did explain that I have a CPAP machine and I need something to be able to accommodate that, and they said, oh yeah, no problem, we'll make sure that you get the right truck. So I guess I might end up with a Freightliner or an International. The International really wasn't too bad. It did have some nice space in the sleeper section, so that was all right. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Also, I gotta say, that lady, I don't know what her issue is. I had a bad vibe from her to start with. She came in and she started complaining about me, saying that I yelled and I screamed at her during the actual road test, and afterwards I expressed my frustration that what I was being judged on was not what I was taught, but I never yelled at her. I never screamed at her. And what I was taught is you go from the right lane to the right lane when you're turning right. When you're turning left, you go from the left lane to the left lane. Well, of course, you have to hook it around. So when you make that right turn, you need to go into that next lane so you've got room to get around the curb for like a couple of seconds, and then you start swinging back into the right lane, closing that gap so a car doesn't go around you. And she was telling me I was doing it wrong. And when I was doing it from the left, because you have to go from the left turning lane over to the right lane, either the middle one, or if there's only two lanes, that furthest right one. for a couple of seconds and then hooking back to the left lane and then going back to the right lane because that's where you're supposed to be. I did it. That's how I did it. That's how I was trained. And she's like, no, I want you to stay in this left lane. So, yeah. And then she was complaining about all the grease that was all over me, and that she was telling me that I had to go clean up because I can't get it all over the truck. And I asked her to get cleaned up because I didn't like having grease all over my hands. And I didn't even expect to get all that garbage all over me. Because when she said I was doing a pre-trip, I'm like, oh, okay. And I started doing it the way, I did it in the academy. I started pointing out this is what I would check, and she's like, no, you have to get your hands in here, and you got to check these hoses and make sure they're. And so I asked her, I said, so do you want me to actually go in here and actually touch this stuff? And she's like, yeah. And that's why my hands wound up getting dirty. That's why I climbed underneath the trailer and looked at stuff. And how I wound up getting grease all over my shoulder. So, I don't know. Maybe she was just having a bad day. It was late Friday. Maybe she just wanted to go home. I don't know. All I know is I got a bad vibe from her to start. And I don't know. I probably should have just said, yeah, you know what? Why don't we do this another day? And, I wouldn't mind just getting another tester. But I didn't want to be rude. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be rude. I was excited to be testing and, to be able to get it behind me. And she really spoiled the experience for me. I started thinking, maybe the things people were saying about Swift was right. That they had no standards. And that everyone was just doing their own thing. I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad I was wrong. And that my feelings about Swift were right all along. That there is a Swift way to do things that people aren't following. So, yeah, that was really good. Oh, by the way, this guy asked him about the checking with the tire pressure. Oh, yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah, that he said in a year you're going to be hitting it with a hammer anyway, so I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, so that's my experience. I just got to wait for a truck to be available, and then I'll be getting it loaded up and I'll be out. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but yeah, it gives me a chance to work on some videos, maybe do a few more live streams. It's a good thing, right? Anyways, thanks so much for watching. And be sure to like, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. It really helps out the channel and the video and the series and stuff. But yeah, I appreciate all you folks. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a killer awesome trucking day.